All right, guys. Today's podcast is sponsored by Fantasy Data. FantasyData.com offers fans the ability to download statistics, projections, and to get their hands on some premium fantasy football advice and insight into the industry. All that price won't break your budget. This year, Fantasy Data has created 2 premium features that are designed to give you the edge over competition with advanced efficiency metrics and advanced player performance metrics. These sortable pages dive deep into skill positions, offer advice to help you dominate your daily, weekly, season leagues. Check out Fantasy Data today.
Here we go. Welcome, Average Joe Nation from around the globe. Props to you for staying up to date and keeping in the know. With fantasy football, man, very soon you'll reign. The knowledge that these 3 guys have, man, it is insane. Yeah, fantasy football talk hateful late, they wear the crown. Hold it down. Pickle, Blackburn, and Trimboli, hold it down. Pulling up to the recording studio, we're getting loud. Getting ready, headphones on, red light go, break it down.
All right, welcome. Oh my gosh, that was bad. Welcome. I can't get it. That's bad. Welcome into the show today. That was bad. Oh, starting off well today. This is the Hateful Eight Fantasy Football Podcast. If you're listening to it for the first time, that's not how I normally sound or start the show. Well, at least a third of the time I do.
It's an interesting intro.
It is. Apparently there's a frog in my throat. Anyways, today's main topic is going to be in reference to players that we're going to not be drafting, and it could be for whatever the reason may be. I guess it could be ADP, it could be just personal vendetta. This guy has screwed me so many years in the past when I have drafted him or had him on my team, so I will not. Or it could just be the situation around him. You're just like, hey, not worth the potential, I guess, floor falling out from underneath him or the offense that he's going to be in. So, and that is the RPO, as we call it, so run pass option. So it's kind of like our swipe, I forget, is it swipe left when it's a no?
Yes.
Okay, swipe left when it's a no. I haven't seen or been around that app in such a long time, so just saying.
You always swipe right, so you don't know.
I've never even had the app on my phone, to be honest, so I had to swipe and figure out what the sound effect even was for the drop today, just so everyone knows. So, anyways, so the main segment for today, main segment for today is that now you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can also find us on any of your podcast platforms, YouTube, and then for the local Dayton people, DATV, Fridays at 10:30 p.m. as well as Sundays at 4 p.m. I wanted to say 4:30 p.m. It's actually 4 p.m.
It's like 4 p.m.
4 p.m. It's like the 5th meal from Taco Bell. Isn't that it?
I don't know.
Okay, I don't eat Taco Bell very often.
Yeah.
Have you ate Taco Bell in a while?
Mm.
Okay, I ate when the fries came back out because I wanted to give them a shot, but...
I did too, actually.
Okay, so you have. Anyways, so that's the main segment for today, and then let's go ahead and get into the first segment, Fantasy News and Notes.
Fantasy News and Notes.
All right, Fantasy News and Notes presented by Sleeper. If you want to stay up to date on anything and everything fantasy football related, make sure you download the Sleeper app on iOS as well as on Android, and they are doing some changes to the website as well if you're more of a traditional website and not a mobile device person. So the big thing for them that they're pushing right now, they just created, it's called dark or night mode, essentially. So like when you're mock drafting and you're not in a well-lit area, your eyes aren't like, your retina isn't burning because of the colors are all a little bit darker grayish setup. So.
Do you guys do night mode on all the apps? I do.
I usually do.
I do.
So that's why I was excited to see that they actually were doing that. But their plan is come September they're going to try to do some more like auction style drafts and things like that, and then they're going to integrate more iPad is the other big thing that they're going to push because it's more mobile phone friendly in website wise, but they really haven't worked solely on the iPad integration, which is what they're going to have before the kickoff of the season. So
nice,
big thing for them. So but fantasy news wise, first one, Geronimo Allison to be a starting slot receiver. It sounds like it's going to be obviously Devonta Adams, and then the number 2 guy is going to be MVS, which we kind of figured based on all the information out of pre-camp talk that there was going to be 3 wide receivers and that Allison was going to be the slot guy, which is fine with me.
I don't really care.
Oh, all right.
Listen, I think you always want a piece of any receiver that's in Green Bay.
Except Jimmy Graham.
Obviously. But I just think MVS is you're gonna take earlier. Allison, I still take a flyer on late because you never know what you're really going to get there. But
I mean, there were years where like it was Nelson, Cobb, and Adams all in that offense, And Cobb was relevant. It just wasn't on a week-to-week basis. It was more of a game-by-game basis, which if you're drafting Geronimo Allison where you're drafting him, he's probably going to be a week-by-week play anyways. So
Probably.
where MVS is more of that wide receiver 2 flex spot, it seems like, based on his ADP. So you're definitely drafting up for MVS where you might be able to just kind of wait a few extra rounds and get Geronimo Allison and essentially almost have potentially the same upside.
We don't even know what the offense is going to look like yet.
Right.
They said 3 wide is all I know. That's the only thing I've ever heard is 3 wide, and the running backs are going to be integrated heavily into this offense passing game.
I think the only thing that scares me about Allison would be if the running backs become more in the short passing game.
Right.
More involved, that would mean the slot receiver might take a hit there.
Yep.
Especially
Right.
if they try to integrate the tight end more than they did last year. So if Graham's trying to get more of an uptick here, that's going to take away from that slot guy.
Yeah. The biggest X factor is LaFleur and his offense and what he's really bringing in, honestly.
Listen, if
versus
it was Peter
what,
LaFleur, we'd know what's going
right,
on.
versus Aaron Rodgers' offense, what he wants to bring in. So, now this one's a good sign. Travis Kelce's good to go for training camp post the ankle surgery. Says he's 100% ready to go and ready to dominate. So,
Lock him in as number 1.
Yeah,
Right.
He had 100 receptions last year.
right, and he's going at that end of that first round, beginning of the second round turn in a lot of places. I've seen him
Right.
go as high as the 111, 112 in 12-man leagues. So he's inherited the Gronk draft capital for good or bad. I mean, it's just that is where he's being drafted. You're not getting him in that third round.
No, not even close. And I don't like taking tight ends that early. I don't care who they are.
I mean, I've taken Gronk in the past, and it's been okay, but I just feel like the biggest thing for Gronk was he just had injury issue. Like, he had an injury issue attached to his name where if he was playing, you knew he was a top 5 tight end every week. And I think Travis Kelce, as long as there's no setbacks with his ankle surgery, like once the season starts going, I don't think he's got that injury tag. I think he is a clean tight end 1 week in and week out without any issues of worrying about he may get injured.
True.
Or
And
tweak something.
And the gap between 1 and the 4th guy is big. So
Yeah,
Right.
Travis Kelce had 103 receptions last season.
Yeah.
That's big in
well, and
PPR.
Mahomes throws the ball all over the field.
Absolutely.
That's the biggest thing. I think Travis Kelce, we're catching him at a younger age and a healthier version than what we caught Gronk when he started kind of climbing into a relevant week in and week out tight end 1. So
Gronk was just a touchdown monster.
plus the offense is much younger in Kansas City
absolutely.
than in New England when Gronk really started being relevant. I mean, Brady was how many years in?
Yeah.
So
50.
probably.
Still winning
Right.
championships.
And then this one's another good one to see. Cooper Kupp avoids the PUP list pre-camp, coming off that ACL injury where he missed, I think, like the last 7 or 8 games of the season. It was like he had an injury and then he came back later in the game and then he was injured. He re-injured it or re-aggravated it or something, and then he was done for the rest of the season. So I think this is a good thing for him. This is a good thing for the offense, and it's one less question mark that Sean McVay has to worry about when you've already got this guy named Todd Gurley with a big question mark. And regardless of, I mean, I won't go too far into it, but regardless of what Sean McVay says and what the the Rams PR and their medical staff are saying, there is definitely a question mark around Todd Gurley. You don't draft Darrell Henderson where you drafted him in this recent draft with all signs pointed towards Gurley's going to be, as they said, ready to go and 100%. I don't believe it.
He's going to have a limited role, but I
yeah.
think they're trying to get longevity out of him now.
Well, they did just pay him.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing.
Right. And that's what I mean, though. So if you try to run him like you did last year, you're going to run him right into the ground. He's going to be hurt again, and
Right.
you're going to waste your investment. So
Right.
they need to extend this now for his not only this season but his career.
I agree.
But for Cooper Kupp, I'll tell you what, if you hear he's limited during camp and everything, don't have that as a concern. He's still coming back from injury. I just want to see he's out there participating right now. And that he's
Right.
getting into game shape. He doesn't have to be doing all the snaps right now.
Right. I mean, his ADP is, we looked and it's like Woods,
Cooks.
Kupp, and Cooks are all like literally within a few
Same
picks of
round.
each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And plus, if Kupp's in the game, that's golf's BFF.
right.
Yeah.
That's his go-to guy.
I mean, what was it, 2 years ago now when he was in his rookie year, you said before the season even started, you said he's going to be the leading receiver in that offense, and you said he's going to be the best wide receiver in that offense by the end of the year, his rookie year even, before we even saw him out on the field really. I mean, he blew up year one, and he was actually doing really well last year till he got hurt. So I just think I agree with you, I just think he's golf's BFF, and if he's out there, why not have him?
You know what? Maybe we're doing a disservice to golf if we're not talking about him enough. I mean, there's 3 guys potentially in the top 20, top 25 wide receivers here, and a running back that can catch out of the backfield, I
Right.
mean, there's going to be one guy giving him the ball.
And when Cup went out, I mean, Josh Reynolds picked up his slack
Right.
decently. So
The biggest thing, I mean, I personally like Goff, and I'm trying to draft him in every one of my mock drafts that I take. It's just he's too safe not to. I mean, he's got too much
Right.
talent around him, and he's got this guy named Sean McVay who's not going to let him fail. He's like Bill Belichick. He's not going to put you in a bad situation that's going to cause you to be awful week in and week out. He might make you make a pass or whatever that's going to be questionable, but then the next 2-3 series he's going to have. Now we saw this from the defense. We're going to adjust. We're going to do this, and we're going to start moving our chess pieces while they're playing checkers. I mean, I really think
except
McVay.
Bill Belichick.
Right, Belichick just he does what he does week in and week out. He just doesn't care
He's
what
playing
you do.
Battleship, just sinking everyone, dude.
He's playing on
I like it,
PS5
yeah.
while everyone's playing on PS4. How about that?
Nice.
Yes. Melvin Gordon is the big topic for the week. Did not report beginning of training camp. Now, according to sources, he has been offered some sort of agreement contract to his camp of people. However, there's no numbers obviously being released, and obviously it wasn't well enough that he signed it day one. So there's definitely going to be a battle of some sort.
And the Chargers said that that's their stance. They're not budging.
Yeah.
So
That's
This is
the problem.
Listen, this is a red flag. Be scared. Le'Veon Bell situation potentially. Just know this: if you have not drafted yet, just be aware of this.
Right.
He's potential to miss at least a game or two.
or
now.
if you have him as a keeper,
Yeah.
I mean, that's tough.
You're in a tough spot because you
Yeah.
won't know until after the draft's over whether or not you've got a guy worth keeping at
So
that
now
point.
you got him as a keeper. Now you have to take your first round pick or whatever, and you may have to double up.
Right.
I think anyone who drafted early, just like the Tyreek Hill situation before we knew, I think you have to play on the safe side that there's potential games are going to get missed here. And then if it doesn't happen, it's just, tough luck.
Right. Well, I mean, and we've talked about it as well, I mean, off air as well as on the show in previous episodes, that Melvin Gordon is a top 12 running back. The problem is, that you've seen the last 2 years, he's missing at least 3 to 4 games every season. So
Right.
if he's already missing 2 to 3 games at the front end, and if he's always injured towards the end of the season because his body just breaks down from injuries because he's overused or overworked, whatever you want to call it, now you're looking at somewhere between 5 to 7 games that you're missing, which in fantasy football terms, that's a good portion of your season.
It's like half the year.
That's not a top 12 draftable running back.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's missing 6 games, if you factor in 5 to 7 games, he's not a top 12 running back that you can draft in that. I know I said it wrong. Top 12. Top 12.
I feel like that's going to be all day.
It is. So I'm just saying, and you can't draft him in that first round. He now moves to that second round. Well, there's a lot of other running backs that I would take in the second round that you can guarantee aren't going to be missing 2 to 7 games.
I'm just more concerned that you have to take Austin Eckler now if you draft Gordon.
Absolutely.
And because the running back pool is so short, or shallow, I should say, after a certain round, that you're going to take Eckler now way earlier than you should, which means you're passing up on that potential better wide receiver that we've all been talking about is deeper in this league.
Right.
So-
And that's the other thing with, like, Todd Gurley specifically. Your league mates are going to know if you draft Todd Gurley, they know that you're going to be looking for Darrell Henderson in a few rounds or
Right.
so. Same thing with Melvin Gordon. They know you're going to be looking for Austin Eckler
If
or
he-
Justin Jackson in a few rounds.
Well, if you got Gordon, then you better get Eckler.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
And we all know in our league, people will literally draft the backup, the handcuff, just to create
Trade
a
bait.
trade issue later on.
Yeah, but for me, if I'm the Melvin Gordon guy, I'm harping that right away that we want Eckler to go way early. That way I can avoid having to reach for him.
True.
Let it go, and I can still then draft normal again.
Okay.
Let the guy who wants to trade for me reach, and then he gives me something he shouldn't have.
All right. Let me ask you this. So if we walk into the situation, it's at the actual fantasy draft. The day of your draft, it's like the week before
So
the
it's
season.
Christmas. Okay. go
Right.
ahead.
So the day,
It's early
really the week
Christmas.
before the
Santa.
season starts, you're walking in draft day. Santa. Anyways, draft day. You're fine. It just seems how the day's going. The draft. You still have no clarification that Gordon is showing up before week 1. It's kind of like the Le'Veon Bell situation. Are you drafting him as your first round pick if you're at the back end? And you could potentially snake around and take Bell or Mixon or Cook or some of these other guys.
So he hasn't showed up to anything yet?
He has not showed up to anything.
Nope.
There's no sign, no communication, just like last year with Bell.
Give me that bill.
I'm passing.
Okay, so what if you come around and you're in the second round now? Like, we'll just say you're pick 6 in the first round, so you come around and now it's another couple more picks. You're the middle of the
I'm
second
middle
round.
second.
Are you sitting there with
I'm
Gordon,
drafting.
Cook? We'll say it's Gordon, Cook, and who's another one that's usually going around and around? Chubb.
Damian Williams.
Damian Williams. Those 4 guys. Gordon, Chubb,
Fournette.
Williams, Fournette, Cook. Are you taking Gordon at that point?
I mean, it's a good value if it pans out, but it's a big risk if you don't, because then on the way back, 12 more picks or whatever it is.
So for
you're
me,
screwed.
it depends. If I paired him with a running back in the first round, then yes, I have no issue with him.
Okay,
But if
so
I'm
you
going
got
to say I went, let's say Hopkins.
Hopkins or Adams?
No, I want to get I'm probably going to go with if Chubb is available. Who else was available?
Cook, Fournette,
Oh,
Williams.
yeah, if I can have Cook, I'll take Cook all day
Okay.
in that spot. So
See, that's my
Fournette's-
question. That's
I'll
my
take him
concern
up.
with this Gordon situation. If you're walking into your draft the last week, there's still no information of any kind, and you got your choice between Dalvin Cook or Gordon, who's not reported of any kind. I'm taking Dalvin Cook, in my opinion, as well. I don't feel like I can take Gordon unless I somehow manage to get a running back, like you said, in the first round. But even then, I still feel like taking Gordon at the middle of the second round with no sign of showing is a big question mark. Because what was it? Was it last year? Thacker took Bell #1 overall, correct?
Which I told him not to.
No
for the record.
sign showing up, and that didn't. I mean, he ended up making a trade to get rid of him because there was a lot of talk prior to the whatever. But in the big picture, you wasted your first round pick.
that's the only reason why I passed on him is because I've seen this the year prior just with a different back. I mean, this is Bell 2.0 now with Gordon potentially here. 'Cause, I mean, the Chargers don't seem like they're going to budge. Gordon wants his money, so
Yeah, because think about that. If Thacker wouldn't have made that trade that he did to get rid of Bell, he would have been sunk.
Oh yeah. All right. And then Tyler Boyd signs a 4-year extension, 4-year, $43 million for the
pay
Bengals.
the man.
Show me the money.
Do I have it? Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
That's him in Cincinnati right now.
Right.
Yes.
You can hear him from here. Anyways, yeah, I think it's a good sign for them for the future. It does tell me that the writing's on the wall for A.J. Green that he's going to have to take a significant pay cut of what he values it probably in his mind to actually get back with the Cincinnati Bengals, because I don't see the Bengals paying up for him, and I don't see another team paying a 30-some-year-old wide receiver with injury issues.
Yeah.
He's been the subject of a lot of trade rumors here lately, too.
Yes. But they really didn't address the wide receivers in this draft. So, I mean, to me, if you got him under contract, as long as he shows up and he does what he's supposed to and he works like he normally works on the practices and does everything and comes to work like he's supposed to, I don't see why you can't just let the contract ride out and see how it goes into the offseason.
Well, the problem is you have an aging wide receiver who's great, and he wants to be there. He's perfect. He's been ideal, and you normally don't get that out of a Cincinnati player.
Right.
But we don't have the quarterback of the future on the roster at this point.
No.
So for me, I can see where they'd cut ties because you got to rebuild here.
Right.
Is he going to be along by the time we get that quarterback in play? Is A.J. Green going to help us at that point?
Well,
Help
I
the Bengals?
read a rumor that said that Trent Williams, he's holding out in Washington right now, that he could be shipped to Cincinnati in an A.J. Green kind of swap deal that would help both sides.
Yeah.
It would. I mean, it would give the Redskins a true one. Even though he's aging, it would give them a true one now, and it would shore up that left part of the line that they just lost in Cincinnati with the draft pick going down.
And Green would go back to a coach that he's familiar with.
Right.
So in an offense that he did flourish
I don't think
in,
it's a
so-
bad idea.
No, not at all. I mean, I don't listen. Trust me, I don't want to see A.J. Green go at all.
Right.
And the combination of him and Boyd together, he makes Boyd better.
Right.
Well, the main reason that came out is because both sides need one another, and it's in different conferences.
Right.
They wouldn't have to play each other.
This is true. Now, obviously, it's not tremendous news, but Allen Hurns released by the Cowboys. I think this immediately puts Randall Cobb as the number 3 officially. I know Hurns was not really going to be a true fantasy relevant guy, but for fantasy purposes now, I do think Cobb has solidified the slot receiver spot that Hurns and him may have been battling in camp.
Right.
Well, they said, too, that it's a money issue, and they still might bring back
Right.
Hurns.
Well, they
It just
told him
has
to take a
be.
pay cut 2 days ago or whatever, and he said no thank you. So,
Well, if he doesn't get any interest, I mean, he could come back and just be at a lower number.
but the cap space now that frees up does add some more money to the pot to potentially try to reel in 2 superstars this year and 1 next year. But
Allen Hurns really didn't offer anything to this team,
No.
add. So this is just
no.
cutting cap.
And then the last thing I did see this morning, Ezekiel Elliott, he has been the Cowboys and him are optimistic that he's going to show up day 1 of the camp. Now this is Thursday, so obviously we don't know for sure when he reports Friday or Saturday when they first show up. But to me, it's a good thing for the Cowboys if he shows, and I think it's a better thing for Ezekiel Elliott if he does show good faith, because I think that maybe opens the door that both sides are wanting to really try to maybe solidify something before the season starts. I just think, yes, from a football standpoint, I think Ezekiel Elliott should hold out from like a selfish standpoint. But on the flip side, he does have some off-the-field things in his file that's in Goodell's office, and believe me, Jerry knows that. And on the flip side, Jerry, I think, once he really likes Ezekiel, he's gone to bat for him on pretty much everything and stuck his neck out for good or for bad.
Because he's the offense.
Right. And I think that the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones and the Jones family realize that. So I think they just got to find a middle ground. I'm not saying that he has to be like making $25 million a year. I'm just saying he has to be making somewhat close to what he has to be making what Todd Gurley's making.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
But right now it's just to show that, hey, I'm going to be Melvin Gordon next year.
Right.
That's what he's doing right now.
Right, and that's what I kind of took it as.
Yeah.
It was a preemptive, like, hey, this is me telling you, I will hold out. I have no problem doing it, and I have no problem sitting out. We're going to basically, it's going to wait and see. And I think for the Chargers' sake, I'm thinking they hope that Ezekiel Elliott gets to camp, shows up for their favor.
He said he was going to hold out this season? Or this?
Zeke said he was going to hold out this camp until he got paid, but now they're saying there's been talks that he's going to show up.
I hope he does.
It's two different. We're talking two different things here. Zeke still got 2 years on his contract, so he's going to lose a bigger chunk than Gordon would.
Absolutely.
So it's not in Zeke's interest to do it. I think what he's just trying to do is to show, hey, right now, I'm serious. We can either talk now or next year we can be in this same situation. So we avoiding it or what?
I don't know.
So
I don't know. We'll see how that plays out, but it's a lot of question marks.
For that position, like it's tough, man. These guys get hit a ton, and if this franchise tag, I could see how it really could screw them over. So,
right, it's gonna be a waiting game. I just think that it's gonna be who's gonna make the first move.
Yeah,
I mean, traditionally, let's be honest, they haven't. The Cowboys don't pay for running backs except for Emmitt Smith. So, but let's be honest, Ezekiel Elliott's not a typical running back in the NFL.
No, he's been the best running back they've had since Emmitt Smith.
right. But the one thing that Cowboys do great is they address that offensive line.
Right.
That offensive line has been stellar for years.
So, all right, let's go ahead and get into the final segment today, RPO, and it's going to be Swipe Left, presented by Trophy Smack.
No. Hard pass. Hard pass.
All right, RPO Swipe Left, presented by Trophy Smack. Trophy Smack, 1,000 different fantasy trophy combinations, fantasy championship rings, championship belts, and just in time for your live drafts, they got the draft board available for $39, free shipping. If you head over to TrophySmack.com, use the promo code TH8FFRING. That gets you your championship ring if you purchase a championship trophy through them. So free.
Do it.
It's all free shipping as well. That's the big thing. So, all right. So these are players that we have talked about that we will not be drafting specifically. Now, I did put it out there in the sleeper format and say, hey, who are some players that you guys will not be drafting? So I was going to go quickly down names and stuff real quick.
Everyone.
Right. This guy named it's capital Tips, and he's got a capital Tips.
Capital Tips.
Yeah, it's all caps. I kid you not. And his picture is of Andrew Luck in a military uniform. Yes. It says Derrick Henry. So his big one is Derrick Henry. Stolism says Henry and Gurley. Carlisle's Clutch says Sony Michel was his big one. BKM44 says passing on Gurley. And then
like all together or just like first round?
Says they're passing on them all together.
Wow.
Like do not touch. Do not
I'll tell
draft.
you what, your Gurley's going to drop tremendously.
Bob Odie says Todd Gurley for him, and he says, I don't want to pretend that his knee health is 100%, and that doesn't make me want to pick a first or second round choice with him. So maybe a third round pick is what he's trying to say. And then DeBarkley says
I hope to get
Julio
Zeke in the third,
Jones
too.
if this knee injury lingers.
Who?
Julio Jones if
Hey,
this knee
he's about
injury
to go for
lingers.
3,000 yards.
He said he's going to mess around and go for 3K.
Yeah. So, anyways, all right. So let's go ahead. Who is the first guy that you're not looking
Hashtag
at?
not TWOP12.
Yeah.
Not top 12.
Wop, wop.
I hate you all. Anyways, go ahead, Blackburn. Who is your guy?
My first guy is Aaron Jones.
Okay.
Right now, he's getting a lot of mixed reviews right now. But for me, his ADP's RB14, 212 right now, and half PPR, 10 team.
All right.
He's had some injury and suspension issues. He's missed 8 games in the last 2 seasons because of it. The head coach, Matt LaFleur, said a running back approach is the best. That scares me because they also got Jamal Williams, and they drafted this kid in the 6th round.
Yeah.
what's his name? I forget it, out of Florida State.
Okay.
But they said they like him and they want him to be a part of the offense too. We know they're run heavy, so I can see all three of these running backs being an integral part of this offense, and I don't like that for just getting one player, Jones, in the second round.
Yeah.
That scares me.
Yeah, my biggest thing I like, and I know one of our writers, Danny, was giving me such a hard time last night about my stance on Aaron Jones.
Listen, it was priceless.
Right. Okay. So let's just take part one. Part one for me is I like Aaron Jones as a running back. I like his talent. I like what he can do in the offense. I like that he is BFFs with the quarterback named Aaron Rodgers. Problem is the previous coaching staff, yes, they're no longer there, didn't feel that Jamal Williams and him had much of a difference eye test wise because they pretty much split as much as they could as often as they could. Matt LaFleur has made it very clear he loves the running back by committee approach. I went and looked. He is truthful in what he's saying. I mean, it took pretty much his outs in Tennessee to get Derrick Henry on the field.
Right.
And Derrick Henry, to me, is much better talent-wise, I think, overall, as a traditional running back than not Damian Williams, but Deion Lewis was. And so is his eye test bad, or is he just that stubborn and this is the way we're going to do it, and this is how we're going to do it? So which one is it? And if that's the case, if I've dug my heels into the ground and I'm not budging from my play calling style now that I'm the head coach, then this affects Aaron Jones. And that's the only thing that that's my biggest thing is Matt LaFleur is literally the X, Y, and Z factor in this equation of problems for Aaron Jones, for good or for bad for the offense.
Well, so I do think it's going to be a committee. It's going to be a split backfield. I totally agree there. But what I like about Jones is the offense is explosive. He's going to score a bunch of touchdowns. So he's got touchdown upside. That's something you can't go away from.
Right.
I think he's going to play in the passing game a lot more this year. What he is he's an RB2 with RB1 upside. And that's why for me he's worth the flyer. I mean, his
in the
stats,
second round though?
Yeah, but put it this way, his stats last year, he almost scored 10 touchdowns. He only played in 13 games and only had 133 touches. I mean, compared to other guys getting 200 plus, he did a ton with limited amount of time. So, and that's because the offense scores points.
Right. My question mark is if this offense is truly going to a 3 wide receiver set every time, if Jimmy Graham's in there and Aaron Rodgers is going to want to throw the ball, Aaron Jones is going to have to pick up the slack in the receiving part, and I think that's my bullet point number 2 for Aaron Jones is can he be a true all 3-down running back? If he cannot, then that's where Jamal Williams' value slides right into that pass catching it back spot, that 3rd down or passing plays, which is exactly what you saw in the Chicago Bears offense with Matt Nagy and Tariq Cohen and Jordan Howard.
The problem is he's never had a quarterback in Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I get that.
And that's going to be a big play here. And if Rodgers is pushing for Jones, I just think Jones has got upside.
Right.
But listen, I can your argument for Jamal Williams, I get it actually, and I can see it. And I like the idea you can get Jamal late. It's Jeremy, always writes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he always writes in, and he likes to get Jamal late. I get it. I understand his concept and his strategy there because he thinks if Jones doesn't pan out, you're getting Jamal way late, and you can wait on him. You know what I mean? Because you're
way late.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think Jones has the potential to be a top 10 fantasy back, especially if he's involved in the passing game. I just don't like the RBBC. I don't.
Yeah. My biggest thing is watching as we go into camp, through this training camp, and see what we see. If it's truly and we hear nothing but they're 50-50 splits, or Jones is coming in on the 1st and 2nd downs, Williams is coming in on the 3rd downs, and that's all we hear all camp, and we see it in the preseason, what do they call it, the 3rd week of the preseason, like basically
dress
rehearsal, and we see what we're going to see for the season. I don't think LaFleur is a very Bill Belichick guy that's going to hide what he sees and what he's doing and not show you what you're really going to see. I think you're going to see what you're going to see in preseason training camps as well.
Well, outside of the top 10 guys we have ranked.
Yes.
So I don't know where you guys have Dalvin Cook, but I want to make sure Dalvin Cook's in that list. Every other running back is kind of a committee here. It's a split backfield. In some form, there's a pass-catching back and there's your running back, the traditional, between the tackles guy. So I guess that's my point is, do you think Aaron Jones outshines those guys? And that's where I put him in. If you put him in that mix, if you think of it that way, I think Aaron Jones has more upside than those guys do. Because really, a lot of teams they're split backfields.
Yeah.
I mean, really, that's why after the first 10 guys, maybe, they're not. Those guys are seeing like 80% of the snaps. Everyone else is about 70 or 60, and they're split with another guy.
Yeah. I mean, where he's going at the end of the 2nd round, 12 212 or whatever, I don't mind the pick at this point because in theory you could get yourself another running back in the beginning of the third round. But if you're somewhere in the middle of the second round, he's not going to fall to me. I'm not going to draft him ahead of guys like Mixon and Cook and Chubb and all these guys because I think they've got a set. They're the one.
They're at the 80% mark. They're still getting 80 plus percent of the snaps.
So Aaron Jones at his current ADP, I don't think it's horrible. But, yeah, if I'm in that 206, 205, I'm not drafting Aaron Jones ahead of Dalvin Cook and these other guys.
There's other receivers that you can get there.
That's my only thing.
Yeah, like I said, I have no problem if you're not taking him at his current ADP. That I have no issue with that. But, who's interesting is Marlon Mack was thrown out also in that group discussion. That he's one that when you compare him and Jones, Marlon Mack right now looks like he's got the sole backfield.
Right.
He just picks up more of that passing role.
Right.
He could be a bigger play here.
True.
So,
I'd rather have Mack than Jones.
I'm slowly leaning that way too.
I just think it's
both are
usage
really
is
good.
going to be, I think, more so Mack than what Jones could see.
Yeah,
that's the only thing.
He's going to get more carries.
Right.
That's what you like.
All right, and then who's your final guy?
No surprise here, Sammy Watkins.
Lame cheetah.
Straight trash.
Straight trash, homie.
He's currently the wide receiver 32, round 7, pick 5. He gained some attention with Tyreek Hill's suspension up in the air.
He did.
Nobody knew what was going on with that before it was officially announced. So his ADP kind of rise by a round or two. But now that's over. Tyreek Hill's ADP has skyrocketed, by the way.
By like 2 rounds.
Yes. So he's going mid-second round at the latest.
Dude, all dynasty players are having buyer's remorse right now.
Right.
For Sammy Watkins.
Right.
Oh.
Sammy Watkins is going to go back down to the basement probably.
Yep.
He finished last year 3rd on the team in receptions. Kelsey had 103, Hill had 87, and he had 30.
Right.
Sammy Watkins. Damian Williams had 23, so he almost.
And Damian Williams didn't really pick up till like the second half of the season.
Exactly.
So that's concerning.
Yeah.
And they had this guy. There's another guy that they drafted, didn't they?
Hardman.
Yeah, McCole Hardman, who was very much the Tyreek Hill shell. So.
Right. He's had injury issues, which we've stated, many times. He's missed 18 games in 5 years, and he's only had 1,000-yard season in his career, and that was in 2015 with Buffalo,
where he was literally the only guy.
And it was 1,047 yards. I think he's a wide receiver 3 at best, and that's only because of the high-octane offense that he's on. I will not touch this guy.
No drafting for me. Yep. I've been a Sammy Watkins proponent for years, and I've finally I turned in my membership card.
About time.
I mailed it in, signed, sealed, delivered. It's no longer mine.
You need to put in that Homer card.
Yeah, no joke. Mine ran out when Blockbuster went out of business.
Blockbuster.
Early 2000s. Anyways, all right. So for me, moving on. Now this one's going to be a shock value for people, and I figured this was going to happen.
Big shock.
Le'Veon Bell.
What?
No, thank you.
What?
Yeah, I know. Little John. What? Per fantasy football calculator. Big Josh. Jason. His ADP, RB6. RB6, 108 half point PPR in a 10 team. We've got him now projected out as an RB6 in the loadout, which is just based solely upon opportunity and value, and because that offense is going to be such a question mark.
It's volume.
Right. That's the biggest thing. So new team, new staff, which is new head coach and OC. So he's not just walking into an established offense. He's walking into a new team with a new offensive coordinator, new head coach. That's a big red flag for me.
And you're drafting the name right now. I hate to say that, but
Bell,
you are.
Bell will be relied upon 100% as the guy. The problem is he has less talent around him than he has ever had in Pittsburgh. Even remotely in like the worst years of Pittsburgh while he was there, this is like way, way behind any of the teams offensively that he dealt with. Offensive line-wise, pass catching, quarterback, coaching staff, everything.
No argument here.
Now, the biggest question mark for Le'Veon Bell, is he truly that good?
Or is he a rapper?
Or this is also true. Not good at rapping. So
no, very not.
And or is he a product of Mike Tomlin's and that Steeler offensive play calling, offensive setup? Is he, because that was the big thing and that's what got him in trouble last year. Jalen Samuels stepped in when James Conner went down. James Conner went in, lit it up. James Conner gets hurt. Samuels came in, lit it up. I mean, it just feels like, is he a product of the system in that offense, or is he truly that elite of a back? Nobody knows because we haven't seen. I mean, there are signs to show that Conner and Samuels excelled in that offense. No, it wasn't to the level that Bell was achieving, but it wasn't far off.
I think Bell's a better overall back than those guys, especially in the receiving game. But Yeah, I think he might be a product of Pittsburgh because their quarterback's a Pro Bowler. They had this guy named AB that was there.
Juju's now there.
Yeah,
We've seen other players flourish in a certain scheme. Look at other New England quarterbacks that came in when Brady goes down. They go to other teams. They don't pan out.
Yeah,
I
New
know it's a
England
totally
still gets
different
second-round
position.
picks out of him.
And Bell's a way better probably for his talent for his position. He's one of the best.
You're right.
But there's red flags all over the place.
And then the other red flag for me, Adam Gase. Now, I looked at his offensive play calling since he was the OC back in 2013. Tends to be a running back by committee guy when he doesn't have a premier back. His 2015 and 2016 were the best years he had.
I was going to say, except one that
He
I
had
can
Forte
remember.
in 2015.
That's the
And
one.
2016 he had Ajayi. Now the problem is that offense, both 15 and 16, were loaded offensively. So offensively in Chicago, you had a guy named Jay Cutler who was actually good at that point. You had Matt Forte. He was actually a decent quarterback in that offense. He had Alshon Jeffrey.
Yeah.
He had I just drew a blank. The tight end that was there for a lot of years. I just drew a blank. His brother Bennett was also in that offense.
Yeah, Bernard Berrien.
They had a talented offensive line, and then he goes to Miami. Miami had Ajayi. They had Jarvis Landry. Devontae Parker's good year. I know that sounds weird, but he actually had a good year that
He's
year.
won.
Kenny Stills. I mean, they had an offensive line that was actually pretty decent. It's just that was the best 2 years that Gase has produced a running back, and they were both elite backs. But the problem is they all had good players around him. He doesn't really have great players around him. He has an average O-line, a young quarterback, and he has Robbie Anderson.
But I'm pretty sure the year that he was with the Bears and they had that really good year, Forte actually led the team in receptions that
He
year.
did.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So if you look at Forte and Ajayi, who are both can catch out of the backfield, if you compare them to everyone else on this list, they're not the same guy. Bell kind of fits that mold of the Forte
I think
Ajayi.
Bell
so
and
it's gonna-
Forte are kind of comparable.
Yeah, and I think it's gonna Bell and Gase might actually pan out this way because of that.
And that's what I'm putting it as a positive and a favor, like to not completely dismiss
Yeah.
Bell, but I'm just saying that there's a lot more track record of Gase imploding his offense
No,
when
I
they
get
don't
it.
have a
Well,
successful talent across the board.
I'm not saying this talent's the best, but they got Anderson, who's an over-the-top guy. They brought in Jamison Crowder.
Yeah.
They got Quincy and Nunwa. I don't
Yeah.
know what's going on with their tight end situation yet, but
Herndon's suspended for a couple
right,
games.
that's not terrible.
Sam Darnold isn't. He wasn't as bad as I thought he was going to be last year, but he wasn't great.
It's just this will be his
last
first full year.
His last 4 games or 3 games were big for him. He took a big steps. Now, if he can continue his growth,
And
then
now he's
Bell's
got a
gonna be
whole
big,
year in
yeah.
the system.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
Bell's biggest upside, like I
like
said,
Anderson though. Big time,
volume
so.
is the biggest thing for Bell. And if there is any type of running back integration behind him that they're going to give him 1 and 2 down, and this guy's going to come in and be the third down, or there's any spelling, and there's not a true 80 to 90% of the snaps and volume to Bell, that's where my concern is coming.
What'd you say his ADP was?
108. So he is right there in that James Conner, Devontae Adams, OBJ,
Michael Thomas.
Julio Jones. He's
right.
all in that region.
Ugh.
Bell or Gordon.
At this current point,
Bell.
Bell, because I know he's at least showing, regardless.
Just testing
Let's do
the
Bell
water.
Mixon.
Just testing the water.
Bell Mixon.
Mixon.
Bell Cook. Like either one. It's tough, right? I would take Bell. And yes, I'm going off the name.
Right.
But I think the opportunity for him to get a lot of touches is what's going to carry that.
Right. And I'm just putting it out there. I'm not saying if he fell to me in the second round, I would have no problem taking him. But at his current, my biggest point of not drafting him is because I just don't think
So
ADP wise that's comfortable
so
for
if
me.
you had the 10 pick and you had the snake going around,
Yeah.
you'd grab best available at 10, and then you'd have no problem grabbing him at 11.
No. That's my problem. That's my point is I don't mind, but creeping up into the 107, 108, which is where he's at.
That's a little rich.
There's Hopkins, there's Adams, and then
Julio.
you've got Julio, you've got OBJ, you've got Michael Thomas, you've
who
got
we know is
Connor,
going to catch a lot.
Yeah.
you've got David Johnson somewhere in that region sometimes. I'm just saying. It's
I'll take me some David Johnson.
right.
all
That's
day.
my thing. I mean, if David Johnson doesn't go in that 105, 106, he could be there at the 107, 108, and then
gonna
you're looking at Bell and David Johnson.
He'll replace Gordon at the 105 or
Right.
106.
So I don't know. It's just a lot of red flags for me to take a guy in that first round that you want to be your staple guy, especially a running back. That's my only concern.
There might be a lot of people that agree with you because Bell burned him last year. You know what I mean?
Well, but that wasn't because
I know.
of his production.
Right.
That was because of the choice he made.
But what if
Right,
he
but-
what if he doesn't start seeing the volume or the value that he feels like he is, and Adam Gase does what he does to Kenyon Drake and starts handing out Frank Gore tons of volume?
Yeah.
Does he get PO'd about it, and does he move on and say, fine, out in the corner. I'm just going to stand here and I'm going to throw my temper tantrum like he did last year and years in past. I mean, Bell
Well,
is
anybody could do that.
Bell to me has proven that he should be lumped into the wide receiver of the diva mindset. Like he is literally a diva running back.
Well, Bell got what he wanted. He got paid.
He got out and he got
They
paid.
got paid.
So he's going to do his thing.
Yeah.
Let's hope so.
And if this doesn't pan out, he's a rapper.
It is. Anyways, all right,
He's
and then
gonna
my
drop it
final
like it's
guy,
hot.
and I'll be quick about this guy, is Corey Davis. There's not much to talk about him, unfortunately.
Next.
Wide receiver, right, next. Wide
Yeah,
receiver
Sammy
39. He's going in the 10th round. Another new offensive coordinator. Still, supposedly they're going to be relying on Henry in this run game
Right.
offense now.
Run heavy.
So is Henry going to throw the ball to him?
Yeah,
If
right.
Not,
That's
no
no,
interest.
don't worry. Then you got no. Wait a second.
Oh, wait.
Just
There's more.
Taylor Lewan suspended for the first 4 games. That's
Ugh.
the left tackle, so that's the blocking for Henry and/or the blind side for one Marcus Poo-Poo Arm Mariota. I said Poo-Poo because he has been nothing but crap since he's been in the league.
Man.
Just saying.
No, he's right. I
He-
mean,
and that's the thing. And I know a lot of
Straight
people are like, well,
trash.
Corey Davis has this, and Corey Davis is great. Yeah, Corey Davis is great. Even in the best wide receiver in the NFL on a quarterback-driven team that has nothing to give is still not going to hit his potential. And do I think that if Corey Davis was on a better offense? Yeah, I think he would have a better opportunity to be something. The problem is, I think he's in a defensive mindseted coach team that's never going to grow him, never going to take him to the next step. And as long as there's a guy named Marcus Mariota throwing the ball or attempting to throw the ball down to him, he's never going to go anywhere. He's going to be mediocre. He's going to be the guy it's going to be a draft bust. He's going to be in the Devonta Parker talk
I was gonna
years
say,
later.
is he Devontae Parker 2.0?
He is, because he has so much talent coming in, but he got put on a team that has no direction, no good quarterback that can really up his level of talent.
Yeah, it's going to be a slow pace of play. It's going to be low-scoring offense, which doesn't compute in fantasy.
Wide receiver 19 in targets last year, however, finished the wide receiver 27 in points.
Wow.
I mean, he was up there in the top echelon of targets. However, the problem is it never translated because targeting doesn't mean that you got the ball to your hands. Targeting means it was thrown in your direction.
Yeah.
And Marcus Mariota has a lame duck of an arm, and he is awful.
Probably thrown at his feet.
Probably. And they brought in a young wide receiver as well through the draft, and they're now supposedly switching over to a offensive run-heavy game. So,
Which they should.
right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sold on this Corey Davis that he's going to be something this year. So please slide him to the left,
Right.
or swipe to the left for me on that guy.
Slide to the left.
So,
Crisscross, everybody. Never mind. Go ahead. Go ahead.
reverse.
Anyways, all right. Who are your 2 guys to finish out the show?
First guy up for me is Philip Lindsay. I'm avoiding him right now, basically at all costs almost. I've almost written him off my whole draft board here.
What?
Yes, I know it's crazy, but here's what it is for me. I think he was like a one-hit wonder. We got a whole new
Like
coach.
Vanilla Ice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even worse, maybe. No, he's not that bad. I just avoid him because I've got a lot of concerns with the idea that there's a new coaching staff coming in. They're a defensive-minded coaching staff. They've already come out and said they want a running back by committee. They want Royce Freeman to see more of the between-the-tackles stuff, maybe earlier in downs. Lindsey's still going to be the pass-catching guy, but what does that really mean? Last year he had 46 targets, 35 receptions. I mean, that ranked him 24th in the league in both those categories. That's not a top back here. So I'm not exactly thrilled with him. Then he's on top of it. He's on an offense I think is going to be really stagnant. They're not going to score a lot of points. They were 19th in points last year. Joe Flacco doesn't do anything for me. So is he got a touchdown upside? I mean, I think he scored more than he could last year at double digits. I see him being less than around 6 touchdowns. If he gets to 1,000 yards, I think that'd be a great season for him. I don't even see that. And his receptions could be kind of where he's at now. So he's for me, he's in top end RB3 with RB2 upside.
Okay, well, let's go to
The disrespect.
Let's go in for a live report from our Philip Lindsay reporter. Blackburn, what do you say on Philip Lindsay?
I say he's going to be better than Aaron Jones.
See,
I'm just saying, I like Philip Lindsay a lot. He's practicing right now and taking first-team reps with the team. He is going to be the pass-catching back. Joe Flacco, if you go back and look at his stats in Baltimore, he throws a lot to the running backs and tight ends. That fits right perfectly into Lindsay's hand. He's not really a deep ball guy. I just like Philip Lindsay's upside over Freeman. They gave Freeman a chance last year, too, at the beginning of the season, and he blew it. Lindsay blew the doors off of him.
right. I will say, as a person who is literally dead in the middle of this, because I feel like I'm in the middle of Aaron Jones as well as I'm in the middle on Philip Lindsay, I will part the table and say that I truly look when you both picked your players. I literally thought this is literally I like red, I like blue. I don't like blue, but I don't like red. I mean, literally, yes. Outside of Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers, if you literally take the offense that they're going to be in with the pass catching ability and offensive weapons around them, they are literally potato.
They are.
So. And I just laugh when you're like, oh gosh, I can't stand Aaron Jones.
That was funny.
But I love Philip Lindsay. And you're like, gosh, I can't stand Philip Lindsay, but I love Aaron Jones. It's like you realize literally they are almost the exact same potential ceiling
it's preference.
and floor.
Yes,
right.
it is.
That's why I
That's
said
all
it's
it
like
is.
I like red, I like blue. I don't like blue, I like red.
But that's what made the two players the pick perfect because we have totally different sides on this and totally different points of view.
Right.
And again, the reason why I like Jones is I like the offense. The reason why I don't like Lindsay is I don't like the offense. I just don't think so if you're a PPR guy, there's not going to be enough plays. Is the pace of play going to be fast or is it going to be really slow because they're not going to score a lot of points? I mean, they only scored over 20 points once in the last since their bye week on week 11. That does not. I'm not happy. Manuel Sanders is coming off of his injury. We got to rely on two sophomore wide receivers. Is there really anything there?
Right.
I mean, they got a rookie tight end. I'm just not excited.
To me, my only reason why I would put Aaron Jones above Philip Lindsay, and this is not because I think either one of them overall on paper or tape-wise is better. I think they're about the same offensive talent-wise, but I do give the slight edge to Aaron Jones because of the offense that he's going to be in, and I give the schedule of who they're playing against because Denver plays a couple good teams out in the West in the AFC. That's the problem in their division where
but their defenses are trash outside of L.A. Chargers.
Right. So
I agree.
But for me, when I look at it and I looked back and forth, to me at their ADPs, and you said Aaron Jones' ADP was what again? 212.
Yeah, 212.
And you said
505.
That's the big point for me. If I can literally get the same production potential, upside, and value at 505, I'm taking Philip Lindsay every day, twice on Sunday.
I think we need to make a wager on this.
Ooh.
And have
I would like
I'm
to
in.
see this.
with something that we have to do on the show.
All right.
We've already got one in the bank, so we'll go with another one.
Well, so we already know I'm taking Jones. You're going to take
Right.
Lindsay.
The only thing we need to do is, are we doing it straight by their draft capital, or are we doing it just by their season straight up?
Season straight up.
All right.
All right,
down.
so-
Whoever finishes higher wins.
I'll put the disclaimer. If there is anything that causes them non-football
any
related
suspensions or injuries that it's
waives it.
void.
Voids the bet.
You cool with letting Twitter pick what our
Absolutely.
punishments?
Twitterverse, let it happen.
Here's Pickle.
Yes.
You can come up with 4 different punishments.
Ooh, this is gonna be good.
Or whatever, however many we can get
Yeah.
on a
It's 4
It's
and a
four.
poll and a Twitter
It's 4
poll.
on a poll.
Twitter picks it.
All right.
Deal?
Sounds
Deal.
good.
Love
I like
it.
this.
Do it.
Yes.
All right. So we got one on the
First one of the season.
first one of the season already.
Where's
All
this
right.
been all my life? You know this is going to be a
This is
problem,
This
right?
is gonna be a
And
train wreck. All right. And who's your final guy?
Real quick, my final guy. This really isn't much of a surprise. I don't think to most people. It's Landry. I think he's just going to be lost in this offense. There's potential of it. There's just too many weapons all around. Baker Mayfield, I don't know how much he's going to be chucking it all over the field like we see Aaron Rodgers doing.
Right.
He still had a ton of targets last year at 140 north of that, but he only had 81 receptions.
And that was before some other guy came into town.
Yeah, and OBJ's there, so I just like I said, he is moving back to the slot. That I'm excited about.
Yes.
I think you got to hamper your expectations here and realize he's not going to be the guy he was when he was out in Miami.
He's not the volume guy.
Same with
anymore.
OBJ though too. I mean,
Yeah, unless Njoku, I can't get a grasp on him yet.
he's inconsistent.
Right. So when the red zone, if it's Njoku, then yes, Landry to me is going to really fall. But
Right.
if Njoku doesn't take that step, like he has not done yet, but he's got the talent to do it, then Landry could play a role in the red zone. But I'm just avoiding him because for me there's just too many question marks right now. Now if he drops, I'll gladly take him.
Right.
But
And I think the biggest thing for us is most of these guys we're talking about is based on their ADP. We would just not be drafting them at that point. Or it's more so like overall what their ceiling can be. Where just like Sammy Watkins, ceiling, there really isn't one.
yeah.
Corey Davis, there really isn't one for me. Jarvis Landry, it's because from what I'm gathering, you just don't think he can hit the level of what he had been in years past.
Right.
Potential.
He said it. He was the guy last year and only got 87 receptions.
Yeah, the 81 receptions is
Or
the lowest
81.
in his career,
Right.
even, too. I mean, and now that's 140 plus targets. Now I get it. Baker Mayfield's he's not the most consistent or accurate quarterback either, but he's got to have total volume here, and OBJ is going to command
A lot
ton of targets.
Yeah,
so.
he's going to get the majority. You
gotta
got
keep
Chubb
him
out of the
out of it, yeah.
backfield. You got Njoku. You got Callaway.
And then what's it going to be when Kareem Hunt comes back?
Exactly.
I mean, what role is he going to
What
play
Duke
in this
Johnson
offense?
going to do?
Duke Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
There's a bunch of
Don't
mouths
forget
to
about the
feed in
Duke.
Cleveland.
Right. I'm just right there. You go. There's just a lot of question marks around Landry, and people are still holding him on name value alone. And his
on-
ADP is carried by.
I was gonna
his
say
name.
on ADP, you got other wide receivers that are still good at going in that same area.
What did you say his ADP was again?
It's 6'10", actually, but when I picked him, he was at higher. It was like 6, I think it was 6'6" or 6'5". He's slowly dropping.
Okay. To me, if he hits that 8th round, which he won't, that would be a comfortable draft position for me based on potential volume and upside and everything. He's going to have to be a touchdown guy. That's going to be his thing. He's going to have to become
Well, it's like you said, red zone.
Yeah, that's
right. He's going to have to do what Keenan Allen does in that Chargers offense. He's going to have to be a red zone monster because otherwise his volume was lower, like you said, last year. And we've got Odell Beckham coming in. And Njoku, if he takes that step, great. Chubb's going to be in there. Duke Johnson, if Kareem Hunt is still on the team when he comes back. I mean, there's just a lot of mouths to feed, like you said. And that's my biggest question mark with Landry is he's not the Miami guy that you were just like blown out of the water in PPR because he was seeing so much volume week in and week out.
And we don't have the Miami weather in Cleveland.
This is
True
also
story.
The AFC North in general doesn't have it. So, and you're playing all those teams twice.
And I will tell you, I did look, and Freddie Kitchens' offense, when he took over, Landry's targets was even less.
Right.
And his his involvement in the offense went even lower when Freddie Kitchens officially took over
I was
running
going
that
to say,
offense.
and when Tyrod was in, him and Landry actually had a better connection than
Right.
him and Baker.
So, and I know Baker's going to try to get his guys, and he's going to do what he's got to do to win. But at the end of the day, when we talk about this, Baker Mayfield is not looking at your fantasy football scores and what you need. Baker Mayfield is looking to see what he needs. This is 3rd and short, or this is 2nd and long, or we're on the 2. What do I do here? Is it a bootleg, or is it I'm going to hand it off to the running back? That's they're
Philly
worried,
special.
right? They're worried about winning games, not about your fantasy points.
He's
Sorry.
worried about what celebration dance he's going
Right.
to do when he scores.
That's my thing. At the end of the day, these guys are not worried about your fantasy football stuff. Even some of them have publicly said on social media and on TV networks that I don't care about your fantasy football team.
There's only one guy that cares, and that's Juju.
This
he
is
came
true.
out last year, and he was all pumped for fantasy.
Actually,
That's
Melvin
awesome.
Gordon did say he's sorry that he let you down about when he got injured.
Wow, wow.
But
Well, that changed this year, didn't
Yeah.
he? I'm just going to hold out. We don't care what you guys got.
Juju is like this generation's of like, he's into the Madden, he's into the dance on the field,
Video games.
Video games.
Yeah, he's everything.
He's talking about fantasy football. I mean, he put a post out with a picture saying, "I'm sorry that I let you guys down.
I know.
I'm going to be better next week." I mean, who
We're
does that?
We're talking about a generation of players who care about their Madden ratings over their actual
Yes.
performances.
That's what I laughed about. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. You've got guys that are like, well, I guess I'm not buying Madden this year. Let's all boycott the Madden game because I got a 90 versus a 92.
Wait till there's an incentive in their clause what their Madden
Right.
overall ranking is, depending on what bonus they get.
That's hilarious.
So, I don't know. It does make you feel bad for the Madden player raters that are all. I hope that they're like.
Dude, they got so
hope-
much publicity right now.
Right. I hope that their
Madden-
names are left anonymous because some of these players might come find them.
That was the best thing Madden could have done because now it's all over the place.
Oh yeah.
I don't think they expected it to be what it is now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane right now.
A little tweak, and everything's back to normal. But
Right.
they got all this free publicity up to
Right.
this point.
Yeah.
It is, man. Marketing is great. Anyways, so that's all we got for today's show. The main thing that we're talking about with these players. So next week we'll be doing the players that you swipe right. So the guys that you will have on your roster.
So literally,
every-
I'll be swiping right on Jones.
And I'll have Philip Lindsay. No, we're not going to do that. We promise.
That is,
Side note.
That would have been funny actually to come to the table like, well, I will be swiping right on Aaron Jones. I'll be swiping right on Philip Lindsay.
Well, I think we
So,
already said
I'll
that.
see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye, guys.
So, but yeah, so thanks for joining us today on the show, whether it's on the podcast side or on YouTube or even on DATV. We appreciate you guys joining us. If it's the first time, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. There was some hiccups on my part at the beginning and throughout.
Yeah, so if any negative
12.
comments, just direct it
Twop
toward
12.
that guy.
Right.
Not TWAP 12.
Top 12. Anyways, so, but if you guys are joining us again, we appreciate you guys continuing to watch. And as the season goes, we'll, it'll be more interesting as obviously as we always say when the season starts because it's more relevant week by week and it's not what if and what could be. We know what we're looking at now.
Yeah,
so
where Philip Lindsay gets like 20 points and Aaron Jones gets like
it's gonna
5.
be literally a week by week. Guess who got 20 points this week?
Yeah.
So, that's the big thing for us. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We enjoy.
Don't let me down, Jones.
Don't let me down. Now, you can check out the website, thehateful8ff.com. We do have the tank tops and the koozies are now officially on there.
Yes.
And we're going to try to formulate some sort of like summer pack where you get, like, if you purchase the tank top, you get a koozie, part of the deal. We'll figure out something. But, yeah, it's summer. We'll do the summer pack. We'll call it something.
We're going to need a winter pack.
We're going to need the winter pack as well. So, and then also I'm not sure, it's still through the 30th July, the podcast awards. So if you have not voted already, please continue to get in there and vote. It's podcastawards.com, and then sign up. Make sure you click the box that says you want to be considered a voter, and then sign up for free. Find us under the People's Choice Awards as well as under the sports category.
You got a week left. Do it.
Got a week
Do
left.
it.
So, and then average donation, as we've always said, averagendonation.com, $10 for the draft loadout. Drafts are getting ready to start ramping up. Like, your redraft leagues are getting ready to ramp up here in the next couple weeks.
Preseason is 1 week away.
Yes. So now's the time to get in there so that we can kind of get ahead of your league mates and get projections as well as articles and things of that nature. So it's big time draft help for you guys for sure. So, and then I didn't mention it before, but with today's show being sponsored by Fantasy Data, if you go to fantasydata.com and sign up, use the promo code FF8, get you 20% off your subscription. So
Nice.
that is for the entire subscription for the year. So shout out to them for giving you guys, the listeners, that. So
Get after it.
make sure as we talked about, the biggest thing is advanced efficiency metrics, advanced player performance metrics, and they've got some other things that they've not really spoke about yet that they're going to be releasing once the season starts that I got to kind of see a little bit about. So, and then the final thing, listener league winner, we have one that we're still waiting on before we mention, because we don't want to throw it out there if they're not wanting to be in now or not, but the one that did already join is Alex, and I don't want to Tomzak.
I like it.
Okay.
Like Mike Tomzak, the quarterback.
There you go. So, but yeah, so Alex Tomzak is already into the listener league. He's been invited. He's already joined.
Tommy boy.
Tommy boy.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you joining.
Just like always, welcome to last place.
Right. So, all right. Anything else before we go? Oh, I do have to tell where you can find us. You can find us on Twitter at jpickleTH8FF. Find Blackburn at jblackburnTH8FF. And you can find Trimboli at FTrimTH8FF.
Aaron Jones goes to live. Or goes to
goes to die.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what.
There you go. Anyways.
I think that statement, I screwed that up.
Yep. And you can find the podcast handle at thehateful8FF. So anything else before we go?
Nope.
Nope. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Always.
All right.
Next
we'll
week.
See you guys next
Yo. No.
Nope. See you guys next week.